Hello and welcome to late November. Welcome to the holiday season, wonderful patrons. So I know this is an intense time in the world, and also the holidays don't always bring up feelings of joy and merriment for everybody. So I just want to say that I hope this finds you doing well and getting what you need during this season, and hopefully finding a little rest and peace and restoration and joy and light and maybe even merriment in there as well. So I was thinking about what you might need during this time as we move really into the thick of holiday season and approach winter. And it felt timely to share some tips or some concepts rather on immune system support and staying healthy during the holidays and during winter and during cold and flu season. So that is what I'm going to cover today. Now, of course, like all things Ayurveda, we look at the whole picture. We take a holistic approach. We look at things kind of from the ground up. So, there certainly are herbs that I'll mention that sort of specifically target, let's say, viruses, right? But I also want to look at things really from the ground up, from the foundation up, to talk about overall how to nourish and how to support your immune system and your vitality and your health overall, not only during this time of year, but really all throughout the year. All right, so there are three very important concepts in Ayurveda, or terms in Ayurveda, that are relevant to talking about immune system and the immunity. And those are Agni, Ama, and Oja. So Agni, I know I have mentioned before in other talks and numerous articles. Agni is our digestive fire. So that's our ability to digest our food and to discard what we don't need. It exists in our gut, and it also exists in really all of our cells and our bodily tissues. And then we have Ama, which is something that I don't think I have discussed with you. So Ama is sort of a unique concept or entity in Ayurveda. I'm not saying it's a real thing. I'm not saying it only exists in Ayurveda, but I haven't heard other traditions quite talk about things in this way. So Ama is literally translated as an undigested food matter. And it's sort of viewed as, I guess I would liken it to like when people talk about toxins or metabolic waste, or if you ever just feel kind of like icky, like maybe you haven't been eating that well, and you just kind of feel like, I need to like do a cleanse, or I need to like clean up my diet or something. That kind of feeling of like icky stickiness, that is Ama. And as Ayurvedic practitioners, we look for Ama in certain ways. There's distinct signs. So things like a thick coating on the tongue, or like persistent bad breath, really bad body odor, sluggishness. These are all signs that Ama is present. And so, and like the body odor, it's different than like if you go out and you work out and you get sweaty and you're a little bit stinky. It's more like Ama is kind of like if somebody showers and they still don't smell good, that's Ama, right? So hopefully you've never experienced that, but that is an indication that something has gone awry, that particularly like the Agni needs some boosting, needs some reassessment, needs to be balanced out and stimulated in some way. And also that certainly like dietary lifestyle habits need to be looked at. And so then we have the third concept, which is especially relevant to talking about the immune system, and that is Ojas. So Ojas is literally translated as vigor, and it's kind of like your life sap. So what is Ojas? It's sort of like your overall sense of immunity, vitality, resiliency. So, Ojas is something like when you have it, you feel it, you know it. It's like when you're feeling sort of vibrant, when you're energetic, when you have a sense of almost like a contentment too, not a complacency. It doesn't mean you're happy with everything, but it means like you can bounce back, right? If somebody around you gets sick, maybe you don't get sick. If life throws some kind of stress your way, you're able to sort of bounce back and recover, okay? So this is our Ojas. Now, again, it's not like a physical thing, right? But it's just that overall sense of immunity and vitality. And it actually is related to the heart chakra. So it exists on a subtle level in the heart. So I think that's also kind of that connection too with like that sense of like wholeness and vitality and like an interconnection that you're not kind of being pulled apart by what life throws your way. To further illustrate what Ojas is, I'm just going to read you a bit from one of my favorite Ayurvedic books. This is Ayurvedic Healing, a Comprehensive Guide by David Frawley. It's one of my most beloved and well-used Ayurvedic books. I've had it for about over 20 years. So this is what David Frawley writes about Ojas. Located in the heart, it pervades the entire body, giving stability and support. It is moist, of the nature of nectar, soma, transparent, slightly red and yellow in color. When it is destroyed, one dies. When it is sustained, one lives. So I like that it's located in the heart, but it pervades the entire body, giving stability and support. So basically, we want to have abundant Ojas, right? We want to nourish this Ojas, and that is going to be our ability to fight off illness. And you don't have to wait till cold or flu season to do that. So you want to be nourishing your Ojas all the time. But how do we do that? Well, first we have to balance the digestion and make sure that we're not accumulating ama. So when you get that sticky substance, whatever the waste, the metabolic waste, the toxins, that undigested food matter, however you think about it, when that sluggishness sets in, that's compromising digestion and it's compromising nourishment. And basically you're not getting rid of what you need. And then Ayurveda teaches that from there, then you can't really build Ojas. So another important aspect of Ojas is that you have to nourish all your bodily tissues before you can build Ojas. So you have to nourish the fluids of your body, the blood, the muscles, the bones, the nervous system. All of that has to be properly nourished, and you have to get rid of the stuff you don't need. And then only from there can you really build Ojas. So tips then on how to do that. So first of all, balanced digestion. I've given tips in other other recordings and articles around that, but just like a quick review, obviously eating food that is suitable for the season, eating food that's of good quality, that's fresh, that's organic, sitting down to eat, eating without distraction, eating food that's suitable for your constitution, taking time to chew your food, digest your food. All of this is going to be huge in supporting your digestion, not eating too little, not eating too much. And then also you can certainly look at specific digestive herbs and spices per your constitution and per the season. So for Vata or like Vata season, so which would be now, so like late fall and early winter, you want to look at things like cinnamon, ginger, black pepper, cardamom, all those lovely masala chai spices are really good. For Pitta dosha or for the hot times of year, you're going to want to stick with more cooling spices, so things more like coriander, fennel, some of the like more fresh garden herbs. You don't want to go hot spicy for Pitta, but you can still nourish and balance digestion with with foods like fennel, for instance, or fennel seed. Ground fennel seed is great for, and cardamom is great for stimulating the Agni without overheating Pitta. And then for Kapha dosha, or in more like the thick of winter and spring, so that more cold, damp, heavy, moist time of year, then you want to go more hot spicy. So then you can do black pepper and cayenne and ginger, basically all the spices, hot and spicy. Don't overdo it. Don't give yourself indigestion or something, but you can definitely have like hot ginger tea. There's a wonderful Ayurvedic blend of 3 herbs that is called trikatu, and it's made of ginger, black pepper, and another herb called pipali that is quite hot. So that is called trikatu. Basically, you have to purchase that from like special Ayurvedic herb suppliers, but it's out there if you feel that you do need a little extra boost. Like if you are more of a kapha person, or if your digestion is just feeling sluggish, or if you live in a place that gets very damp and cold in winter and spring, you may want to look for that trikatu blend. Or you can just go with ginger, black pepper, and hot, spicy, lighter foods. So those are just some kind of basic tips there on balancing digestion. Okay, and then how do we specifically nourish Ojas? Okay, so, and also I just want to say that then by balancing digestion, that you're not going to be accumulating ama, and then that sticky, yucky substance won't be clogging up your cells and your channels and interfering with building healthy tissue. And basically that ama, Ayurveda teaches, that actually can interfere with organic function. So you don't want that to be accumulating and interfering with the healthy function of your organs and your body and mind as a whole. Okay, so then we want to look at how do we specifically build ojas. So ojas is depleted by things like stress, overwork, lack of sleep, lack of time in nature, eating foods that are devitalized, so lots of processed food rather than more fresh, seasonal, organic food, obviously excessive use of drugs, and just overall anything that sort of zaps and depletes your energy. You know, being human is stressful, right? So we all have our stresses in life. But when you're overworked, when life is just throwing a lot your way, when you don't have time to bounce back, when you're just basically getting depleted, that's going to be eating away at your ojas. One teacher of mine talked about the ojas bank. So if you think about like making deposits in the bank, right? So you know, so like just how you would manage your money, right? If you're putting money in the bank, you know, you're going to be putting money in, you're going to be spending money, right? There's an ebb and flow. And just like that with managing our vital energy, we're going to be doing things to restore, and then we're going to be doing things to spend. But if you're spending more than you're restoring, you're going to run into problems, right? So that idea of sort of burning the candle at both ends. So, you know, think about it this way. Let's say you do a wonderful, nourishing yoga practice, you get a good night of sleep, you eat some really nourishing, delicious food that's prepared with love. That's going to all be putting deposits into the ojas bank. But then if you go stay out all night, or you drink a lot, or you smoke, or you work 80 hours a week, you know, all of those things are going to be taking away from the ojas bank. So it's a matter of kind of balancing that out and being mindful of what's within your capacity, what are your limits, what are the things that nourish you, and what are the things that deplete you, right? And that, you know, we're all going to do things that are going to draw from that ojas bank. I mean, I certainly like to go out sometimes and enjoy the evening, go to a concert, whatever it is, you know, travel can deplete ojas. But if I'm not doing things that then restore me and bring me back to a state of more wholeness, and I keep doing that over time, I'm going to run into problems. There are also specific foods and herbs that nourish ojas. So Ayurveda teaches us that milk and ghee and dates and almonds and also cashews are specifically nourishing to ojas. So if you are feeling like, maybe I need to kind of put some deposits in the bank, first I would turn to lifestyle, honestly, because even if you're eating great food, but if you're just running yourself ragged, if you're not sleeping well, if you're in a bad situation, a stressful situation, foods and herbs can help, but they're only going to do so much. So I think first look at the lifestyle factors, look at your digestion, look at your diet. Are you getting contact with nature? Are you getting a healthy amount of movement? Are you getting rest, good sleep? Look at those things first, but then you can look at special foods like milk and ghee and almonds and dates and cashews. And there are also ojas nourishing herbs. And these are herbs such as ashwagandha, shatavari. There's a special herbal blend. It's a classical herbal blend, a classical Ayurvedic herbal blend called Chavanprash, which is made with a base of, it's a berry called the amla berry or amalaki. It's incredibly rich in vitamin C. So it's like a jam, an herbal jam. And it has all kinds of other nourishing rasayanas in it. Rasayanas are herbs that sort of overall build up our ojas and nourish us and tonify us. So you can take this Chavanprash jam a little bit daily. Another one is guduchi, which is a stem. This is an herb that is especially helpful for pitta dosha. It's helpful with liver issues, autoimmune issues, skin issues. So guduchi is another one. And so these are also herbs that you can be taking, you know, per your constitution, kind of on a regular basis, just to overall sort of bolster your vitality, to bolster up that ojas, and that will help with your immune system. Other herbs to consider that are not Ayurvedic herbs per se, but that kind of are in a similar vein are some of like the medicinal mushrooms. I'm not talking psychoactive mushrooms, but I'm talking about mushrooms like reishi, maitake, turkey tail. So these have become a little bit more popular, more known in recent years. And these are helpful because they actually kind of help train your immune system to be able to fight off invaders. So these can be helpful to take in a capsule form or a tincture form. I like sometimes just to keep, like I have right now in the kitchen, a bag of dried ground up reishi mushroom, and sometimes I'll just put a little bit of that in my hot cocoa or put some in a smoothie. So, that's another thing I just want to say is that you can sort of weave some of these nourishing, tonifying herbs into your diet, that you don't have to be taking a bunch of herbal pills, but that you can get the loose powdered form of these herbs and, add them to hot cocos, add them to porridges, smoothies, soups, things like that. Also functioning in kind of a similar way as the mushrooms is a root called astragalus. And this is more of an herb in Chinese medicine, but it's another herb that helps to modulate the immune system. There are some practitioners that think it's not so good to have that when you are in a stage of acute illness. I personally have found it helpful to take when I'm just kind of coming down with something, or something to take on a regular basis too. Sometimes people ask, like, how long can I take these things for? For the most part, you can be taking these kind of nourishing, tonifying herbs regularly. But I think it's always good to take a break from herbs for a while, or to mix it up every now and again. So if you've been taking ashwagandha every day for 3 months, maybe take a couple weeks off. And then in that time, you could, if you feel that you need something else, you could substitute something else. So maybe you take some of the mushrooms during that time, or do something else to kind of help bolster yourself. And then, so I'll show you actually like what some of this stuff looks like in its powdered form. It's just kind of a starchy powder here. So this is actually a blend I made. It's called my Waning Moon blend. And this will be coming out, the directions for this, the recipe for this, and kind of what it's all about are going to be coming up in an Herbal Academy article that should be published soon. And I will share that with you when it's published. But this is basically a blend of ashwagandha and astragalus and hawthorn berry, which is very beneficial for the heart, and also ginger. And with something like this, you could be taking like maybe a teaspoon and a half of this total per day, long term, for as long as you feel like you need it. Like I said, if you take it for several weeks, maybe take a couple weeks off. But also if you're in pretty good health, nothing major going on, you could always just keep something like that around the house and just add a teaspoon here and there to some hot water and drink it like a tea. Or like today, just before doing this recording, I made a hot cocoa and I added a little bit of that in. So you can kind of work with these things in a more organic way too, and just kind of keep them around the house and bolster your diet with these beneficial herbs and spices. Also, so let's move on now to talk about some of the herbs then that are specifically helpful, like during cold and flu season and more acute illness. And some of these are things that you have around the house, which are great, or that you'll probably have around your kitchen already, which is great. So ginger is wonderful root, or rhizome rather, that it's good to just keep handy. So you can keep the fresh root around, you can keep it around in dried form. And I think the good thing about ginger is most people kind of tend to keep it on hand. And you can certainly eat ginger every day. I cook with ginger all the time. I certainly use it in chai. Just a plain ginger tea can be great. You can grate up fresh fruit and boil it in water, or you could just add a little pinch of it to some hot water and drink it as a tea. But ginger is warming and drying, and it is an antiviral. So if you do feel cold or illness coming on, just having some hot ginger tea is a great, easy, and effective go-to. It also boosts the Agni, the digestive fire, so it's going to help things on that end as well. Some herbalists say that in times of, if you're addressing an acute virus, you may want to take ginger tea like every hour to really fight that virus off. Garlic is another immune system stimulator. So sometimes when I'm coming down with something, I will eat little bits of raw garlic to just stimulate my immune system. Ayurveda isn't too fond of cooking with garlic all the time. It is considered to be more like rajasic versus sattvic, so kind of more stimulating, agitating. But, it definitely does have a lot of health benefits. And there are, some Ayurveda practitioners that will apply it in certain cases, like particularly with vata issues or heart issues. And again, it is an immune system stimulator. Most of us have garlic around or can access it easily. So if you do feel illness coming on, a little bit of raw garlic could be good. Just eat into tolerance. Or I've even like boiled it in water and made a garlic tea when I was really feeling yucky. And I thought it was helpful. Obviously, cooking with it as well is good. Another one is lemon balm. So this can be had as a tea on a regular basis. I'll show you a little bit of dried lemon balm here in my goodie bag. So by the way, you know, Mountain Rose is a good resource for herbs if you don't have a local place or you don't grow your own herbs. This is some lemon balm leaf, just dried up. This is smells really nice. It makes a tasty tea. This is something you could have pretty much every day. It's a nice antiviral. It's also uplifting for the mood. It actually blends really well, I find, with peppermint. So if you are having some respiratory stuff, or just feeling a little low even, peppermint and lemon balm is nice for kind of opening things up. And then also elderflower and elderberry. So, you know, you can get elderberry tincture like at CVS probably these days. So it's become very popular as an immune system stimulant and an antiviral. There is some thought that for some people with autoimmune disorder, elderberry might not be the best because it does stimulate the immune system. And obviously in autoimmune issues, the immune system is already overreacting. So, you know, in that case, I think you just would probably want to talk to somebody about it, or to be on the really safe side, you know, just stay away from that. And you could focus on, you could have, you know, you could have some ginger tea, and then also focusing on all those immune system regulators, you know, like the astragalus and ashwagandha and the mushrooms. You know, these tend to be very safe for most people. I will say ashwagandha is a nightshade. So for some people with nightshade allergy, it is not the best. But for the most part, these kind of nourishing, tonifying herbs, guduchi, shatavari, ashwagandha, the mushrooms, you know, these are going to be helpful and safe for most people, and things that you can just kind of incorporate, you know, into teas, soups, broths, hot cocos, your golden milk. You know, these are things that you can have pretty regularly and just kind of incorporate into your diet. And then I did mention the Chavan Prash. So if you want something specific to take every day to boost your vitality, your Ojas, Chavan Prash is definitely a classical Ayurvedic go-to. I will try to remember to link out to a source for that as well. And then also, you know, some of our garden herbs like oregano is a great antimicrobial. I've taken oregano oil, just a drop or two in water at times when I'm traveling or exposed to more viruses or bacteria than I'm normally exposed to. Oregano oil can be nice. And then even cooking with oregano, thyme as well is another really good one for the respiratory system. So a lot of your common garden herbs, common kitchen spices, you know, when you incorporate those things regularly, they're going to help with your digestion, they're going to help even with mood, and they're going to help ward off illness. And then also, I'll just share one more little blend with you that some of you may have seen the article that I shared recently that I published with the Herbal Academy. It was on herbs for the waxing moon. And I made a little blend out of peppermint, lemon balm, and gotu kola. And in that article, I talked about using it as a tea. So there you've got a nice combo of lemon balm, which is an antiviral, uplifting for the mood, peppermint as well, which is good for kind of opening up the sinuses. Also, there is some research that shows that peppermint oil can be helpful for cognition. And then gotu kola is more like a nervous system tonic and also good for the skin. So you can take that as a tea. So again, the formula for that is in the Waxing Moon post. I did share that with you all, but if you need me to reshare, just let me know. But you can also turn that into a tincture. So I actually took that blend and I made it into a tincture. And, you know, you can get pretty technical with your tincturing, but I personally just kind of use the folk method where I basically just take a nice clean glass jar. I fill it 2/3 of the way with the dried herb. I fill the rest up with vodka. And then you put like a wax paper over the jar, put a lid on it, put it in a place out of sunlight, and then just leave it for 4 to 6 weeks and strain it out and put it into a little tincture bottle. And then you can take like a drop or two full of that at a time. I did share with you a recipe for rose tincture. So I kind of did the same sort of thing with this Waxing Moon blend and made a Waxing Moon tincture as well. All right. Well, I think that sums it up for now. If you have any questions about this, or you want me to send you any links or resources in terms of like where to get some of these things, please feel free to shoot me a message. I'm happy to share that information out. But I just want to say that when you're sort of preparing for winter, preparing for cold and flu season, preparing for travel, don't feel like you have to do everything. So, maybe you have your handful or your few go-tos. If you have something, have some kind of, maybe extra sort of nourishing herbs, like if you keep some of the, like some reishi or some ashwagandha or some astragalus around the house, things you can kind of mix in or have on a regular basis. And then maybe you keep a couple extras, like some elderberry syrup and ginger, maybe a little peppermint tea, you'll be in good shape. Because again, it really does come back to the management of our digestion, of our vital energy, and then not only taking in what we need, but also getting rid of what we don't need in all the ways, physical and otherwise. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you stay healthy during this holiday season, and let me know if you have any questions. Until next time, we will be in touch.